Hello, my name's Rory Coulter, and I'm a lecturer in geography at University College London. I'm also the housing topic champion for the Understanding Society study. In this video, I'll explain how students and researchers can use Understanding Society data to study housing-related issues. Understanding Society, also known as UKHLS, is a really rich resource for studying housing, and it's one of the largest household panel studies that's available to us. It's a very rich resource that provides a lot of data about how people's lives change over time. Lots of information is collected about housing in Understanding Society. Some of the key themes include, firstly, information about the types of dwellings that people are living in. For example, the tenure, is it owned or rented? And the number of rooms within a particular dwelling unit. Secondly, Understanding Society collects a really rich volume of data about households, and about how these change over time. So the relationships between people who live together and the ways these change as children leave home, people form relationships, and household members die. The study also collects a lot of information about economic issues related to housing. For example, regular housing payments, as well as the amount of housing assets or debt that people have, their receipt of housing benefit, and whether they're having any difficulties meeting their rent or their mortgage payments. The study also collects information about consumer durables in the household, for example, whether or not the household has a washing machine or various pieces of ICT equipment. Residential mobility is another theme that's covered in Understanding Society. Data capture information about people's preferences and expectations of moving, as well as their subjective assessments of the desirability of the area they live in and any problems that may be associated with their neighbourhood. One really exciting feature of the data is that it's possible to apply for a special license version of the data sets, which enable us to measure where people are living at very finely grained geographical scales, so about, for example, the scale of neighbourhoods. This is a really exciting prospect as it allows us to then link in contextual data about the places people live and to assess how this might influence their lives, for example, their health or their well-being. Housing data from Understanding Society is widely used across a range of different disciplines. Economists have used the data to study people's movements between different housing tenures, their accumulation of assets and debts over the life course, the impact of social security policies on people's moving behaviour and housing consumption, and for assessing the affordability of housing for different social groups over the life course. Demographers, meanwhile, have used Understanding Society to track changes in families and household composition and the ways these are associated and linked to changes in people's housing type, location, and the characteristics of the homes they live in. I'll leave you with a selection of my top tips for using Understanding Society. So firstly, do make use of the longitudinal nature of the data, for example, by assessing how people's households and family structures are changing over time. Understanding Society is a really rich resource for doing this kind of work, for analysing year-to-year changes in people's families and households. And indeed, it's probably the only data set in the UK that's capable of supporting this kind of analysis. Secondly, do think of housing as comprised as a bundle of attributes, so things to do with the dwelling, but also things to do with the neighbourhood. UKHLS offers a really rich suite of possibilities for assessing the housing as a bundle and exploring how people make trade-offs in the kinds of housing they consume over the life course. Thirdly, do consider applying for the special license version of the data in order to link in contextual information for your analysis. Finally, drawing on data about individuals as well as about the households that they live in is a really exciting angle to take in a research project. This enables us to delve within households to understand what's going on and the relationships between people who live together. For example, who is it that actually owns the dwelling or is paying for the housing unit? Finally, if you're new to longitudinal research, do take a look at the suite of Understanding Society training videos that you can find on our YouTube channel. If you need help using the data or you have a question, then for the study team, then do make use of the user support forum located on the Understanding Society website. So that's at understandingsociety.ac.uk. There's also a really rich amount of information on the website about the data and the kinds of variables that are available for you to use in an application.